For most of us, it's just another Friday with the precious metal markets. The Friday smackdown continues, but then there was something very interesting that happened later in the trading day. Let's talk about it as we explore. And of course, it is all about trade tensions easing and a strengthening dollar. Those are the two big reasons why precious metals have dipped today, at least that's what they're saying. But profit taking is a bigger motive here, as we have seen the prices move up dramatically for both gold and even silver to some extent. We saw last week where silver really exploded compared to gold, with gold down a considerable amount of percent and silver up over 3% that one day. And so it's really natural to kind of see some of this stuff happen. And why is Friday the day that it happens? Well, it's the last trading day, and when people want to take profits before the weekend. But in this move, like what we're seeing with silver down 50 cents now, 52 cents, down 1.57%. It is down to $33.12 right now, moments before the markets close. Gold down over 1.2%, 1.26%, down $42.30 today. That is to $3,307.70. A good opportunity in a situation with both gold and silver. If you want to make a purchase over the weekend, check out Summit Metals. They have the best deals for fractional gold, especially Eagles. There's very rare occasions where they don't have a good deal on gold. So check out Summit Metals, and for silver too. Now today, indeed, that's the official word. Reuters is reporting this, and I know Reuters is not the most trusted source for news. But nonetheless, as far as market reports, at least there's some basis for foundation of truth here. Gold prices fell much more than they did now. We're going to get into that later in the video. But gold prices fell 2%, and we're on track for a weekly dip as the dollar rose and signs of easing U.S.-China trade tensions after a report from Beijing had exempted some U.S. goods as tariffs weighed on bullion. And so we see that as one of the factors having an effect there. And, of course, silver also benefited from that. Oil actually not benefited. It got hit as well. And worse, the apparent detente on tariffs is negatively affecting gold and silver prices. But so far as we've not seen substantial liquidations, according to TD Securities commodity strategist Daniel Gali. However, we know that we continue to buy the dip over the last few sessions, so we can think gold can resume its upward trajectory. And that is what has been happening. People have been buying the dip as the afternoon has come forth here. Now, we're seeing that happen even in late trading here. People are buying the dip to where gold was now trading below $3,300 earlier in the day. It got down to as low as $3,264.20. That was a low today. Silver broke through $33 briefly to $32.72 was its low. It is now continuing to take back some of those losses from earlier in the day. That's pretty encouraging, I would say, with gold here, or with silver. China is considering exempting some of these imports from its 125% tariffs and is asking businesses to identify goods that could be eligible, according to the businesses notified. Donald Trump suggested de-escalation of the tit-for-tat tariff battle, saying direct talks were already underway. And see, folks, there's a lot happening behind the scenes there, and people are speculating as to what's happening, what's causing this, and thinking that that they know exactly the details behind the scenes that are going on. And so we have to just kind of wait and see. We've really not been here before. And so this is leaving some other commodities to also spring forth. Copper and nickel are up. Zinc and lead are up. So I think that silver likely next week could start to recapture some of these losses. We'll see how it plays out. Crude oil is also up. The dollar index is also up. It's climbed up. Not a whole lot, but it is up 0.2%. Still under 100. It is at 99.62 now. Now, we did see it get to almost $3,500 an ounce for gold earlier in the week. Not quite got there, but nonetheless, total trade war concerns were the main reason behind all the prior gold buying, but it could still be a while before we see actual progress, and so those concerns are not completely gone. And so likely we're going to see the prices move around for both gold and silver into next week. It'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. And silver is slipping as well. It is out down 1.6% right now, and it's headed for its third consecutive week of gains. And before this big drop, so that's what the backdrop is there for the precious metal market. And silver price certainly is something that we're going to keep an eye on, especially compared to gold. But right now, because of this big hit, the gold to silver ratio now has widened to over 100 to 1 yet again. That is what we're looking at with gold to silver ratio right now. But so it's fascinating, but to see it kind of start to recover in late trading tells us something, that there is still strength in the bullion markets, both gold and silver. And so, though they're down over 1% both, with silver taking a slightly bigger hit, it's not that much more of a hit, and gold is recovering some of its losses. Now remember what I've been saying about silver. Anything above $33 for silver right now is reason to celebrate. And though it did dip below that briefly, it was just that. It was brief. And now it's recovering. And we may see it close above $33. And I think especially on a Friday, when we see that big smackdown, to see it close above $33 is good news for silver stackers, because we're starting to solidify yet another new area of support for the metal. Much as what we saw before when I said $30 was that psychological level. Anything above $30, of course, that's an even stronger one, because it is a major uptick, in the 30s. So we're sitting now at $33.11 right now. That is a good sign that we are, if we can close above this level and there's no more profit taking, in other words, selling off right at the last minute before the bell, then I think that this means that we're going to head into the weekend with some strength, to what we can see what happens as the market watch happens in the Asian markets at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. I do market watch every Sunday night at 6 p.m. where we watch the markets as they open, and hopefully we can see the metals start to move, especially silver, and stay up above $33. But anything could happen, and there's a lot of different signs out there that could push and pull both these metals, for sure, into into next week. It'll be very fascinating to see, but one thing is for sure, the fundamentals have not changed for either metal. And I tell you what, even if gold tends to be a bit overbought right now, I still see good things for gold as we head into the year, and even into the summer doldrums. We're getting ready to get there where the prices may stabilize to the downside for both metals, but it really all depends on what kind of deals are made with especially China. China is a big player right now. And again, there's a lot of moves in the chessboard between both countries and trade representatives. And until that is really settled, we're going to still continue to see volatility. But I think probably some of the worst may be over, unless there's big escalation in the trade war in one direction or another. We also have the situation with Ukraine and Russia, and there's some encouraging signs there, days after an attack on Kyiv from Russian armed forces. So we're going to continue to watch that and see how that plays out. But there's other things behind the scenes that we talked about with what Scott Bessent wants to do with overhauling the IMF, and what some people feel that the interpretation of those words could lead to a return to Bretton Woods type system where gold could be a part, a rules-based monetary system. Who knows what could be coming down the pike in that area, and what his plans are for that reformation in that area. But we're going to continue to watch gold and silver move, and we're going to also continue to watch what happens with the dollar and the economy in general. Other numbers are going to be released that are going to have an effect. And what will the Federal Reserve do? We've not really talked about much about what the Federal Reserve has in store, but more than likely probably there's some negotiations happening there as well. And we could see Trump and Powell come together and come to an agreement of lowering interest rates a quarter point, which in some ways I think is really should not be done. And there's other debate about that, but we'll see how it all pans out. But precious metals will react, and they will react to the emotion and the psychology of the markets. It's what they always do. Or, as some people suggest, is this more price suppression by the big bankers out there? You let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. I like to give you the latest news and analysis in the world of precious metals. So I hope you would consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those of you who have been subscribed for as long as you have, I appreciate each and every one of you. So with that being said, I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.